EFT level 2, bring it on. We're going to start with a just a little, I guess, explanation of what the modality actually is. So now that you guys have done like a day of just recapping, level 1 and all of that, this session is about diving into like what it is that the actual philosophy of MFT2 is. So it's obviously called multidimensional frequency technique. Level 1, or step 1, I guess, is understanding that everything is multidimensional. So the name MFT actually has a very specific meaning behind it and why I've decided to call it that. We are multidimensional beings. Now, if you're sitting in this room, you already know that because you've already experienced it. But the whole process of, I guess, opening up to healing in that space is you really have to have a deep understanding of what it means to be multidimensional. To be multidimensional means that we are more than just our physical bodies. We're more than just, this right here, right now. But beyond that, it's like actually understanding and diving deep into what those frequencies are, what those energies are, and where does everything sit in the spectrum of where's spirit guides and where's this and where's that, and all the different beings that we connect to. Like, what does all that even mean? There's all these different schools of thoughts out there that teach you like little sections of it. There are things out there that'll help you connect to angels. There are things out there that help you connect to crystals. And there's a lot of, questioning out there in the community of what's truth, what's not, where are we actually going with all of this? This modality, MFT, is so all-inclusive because by the time you're done with this, you can understand anything and everything about the multidimensional world that we live in. It's also about recognizing that everything in this world is multidimensional. Right? So every object that you look at, every person that you interact with, every animal that comes into your life, every tree, every crystal, everything that is in existence is actually multidimensional. And also everything in this 3D reality is like a step down of something else in another dimension. Yeah? So if something exists in the 3D, it has a level of existence in the 4D, it has a level of existence in 5D. Right? There's all these different layers of existence. So if it's come through into 3D, it's actually stepped down from that highest level of oneness, if you want to call it that, because from that eagle's perspective, everything is one, yeah? But from that space of everything is one, things have stepped down through the dimensional layers before they can get to the point where we experience them in a third dimensional physical reality. So MFT teaches you how to access all of those spaces. So you can do healings in every multidimensional space all at once. Now, the other thing is, because we're obviously in the room to be healers, when it comes to healing multidimensionally, you have to recognize that all illnesses exist multidimensionally. Yeah, everything has a existence in another space. So, for example, if you have, say eczema or something, right, and that's something that is physically affecting you in 3D, but energetically there is an energetic cause to that as well, an energetic relationship between what you're experiencing in the 3D and something that's happening in all the other dimensions. So if something is off in the 3D, you actually need to look at in the other dimensional spaces, where is that coming from? Because most of the time, 99.9% of the time, the root cause of something that is a physical ailment is not just physical. Yeah, it's got an emotional component, it's got a multidimensional component, it's got all these other things going on. Because if your soul hadn't agreed for certain things to happen, and if you didn't have certain interactions with different energies across dimensional spaces, then you would not be experiencing that disease. And what is disease? It's a state of dis-ease. Because something in your body has gone out of its source alignment. Yeah, that's all that is. And it's happening across multiple dimensional spaces. Yeah. The next part of MFT is the frequency, and I very specifically called it MFT for this reason. The frequency that we're working with is source frequency. It's also the 0 point field. So for those of you that have done inner heart, it's accessed through going into the cave, but there are other ways that we can access that, and we are going to talk about those ways today. Essentially, it's on the premise that everything started from one original frequency, and that if something is out of alignment with that original frequency, that you can bring it back to that original frequency very easily. Yeah? And then of course the technique part of it is what we're going to explore today, which I'm going to show you how to get the techniques that get you into the 0 point frequency that help you heal at a multidimensional layer. Yeah, across all the different levels. So there are 5 key principles of MFT. The first is that you're not the healer. I'm just going to read them out, and then we're actually going to do a deep dive, like workshop into this stuff with you guys a bit more. But you're not a healer in the sense that we are not healing other people. We are actually facilitating healing. And we have kind of covered this in level 1, but level 2 is you really have to understand this, because if there is any like little tiny bit of your personality or ego coming into the healing, it's actually your filter. It's not actually their stuff, right? At the same time though, and this is where it seems contradictory, but it's not, you are actually the same as them. And so how can you heal somebody else when you are them? Make sense? Because Ada, you're already giving me like, it's okay, we're going to explore this in a lot more depth. But just try and understand this concept that we start from oneness, we start from love, we start from creation, original creation. From that place, we step down into these dimensional existences. Yeah. So when you have somebody on a table in front of you and they're coming to you with some sort of ailment that needs healing, you actually have to take your frequency and their frequency back to the original point of source, to where that disease did not exist, and then step it back all the way through. Does that make sense now? So it's not like you're healing them, it's actually they're healing them, but you're facilitating the process. Which brings me to the next key principle, which is that you are the space. Now, I know there's been a lot of talk in not just this room, but also in a lot of other modalities about like holding space and what that actually means. Holding space is great, being space is better. Okay? How can you hold the thing that you are? I can see mine's like ticking over, like, oh, light bulb, light bulb, light bulb. Yeah, this is where every other modality actually fails, because they all say, oh, you have to like bring source through, or you have to like hold space for someone. But you are that. Yeah? When you like fully embody that and you recognize that you are that, then how can you possibly be holding something? How can you possibly be like bringing through something when all you're doing is you're recognizing that you are that thing? Yeah? You are that presence, you are that space, you are that love, you are that creation. To truly understand and embody that is what's required to shift somebody else into that space, which brings me to key point number 3. So this principle is that everything aligns to the highest vibration. This is actually a law of vibration. It's a universal law of vibration in this universe. It exists. It's like one of those universal truths where if you have somebody in a room who's in a really, really high vibration, and you have somebody in a room that's in like a really low vibration, if the person in a high vibration is able to hold and maintain their vibration, the person in a lower vibration will rise up to meet them. Yeah, if the person's not holding their strong center and alignment, then you kind of both have this midway thing going on. But this is, I mean, the technique is going to teach you guys how to stay aligned, stay centered, so that when somebody comes to you and they're in a point of like a place of disease or have an illness or something, that you can hold your vibration strong enough that every cell in their body aligns to the frequency that you're holding. In order to do that, you need to ditch like every fear, every belief, every lack of self, whatever's going on in your bodies, in order to hold a vibration high enough so that somebody, all they have to do is walk into your energy field and they get healed like that. This is how you guys walk through my doors, and everyone who walks through my doors says, oh, there's something about this space. Right? It's the vibration. It's the vibration. People have had healings just by walking through my doors. 2 minutes, they've walked through my doors, walked out, and they've had a profoundly changing, like life-changing experience, because just everything in their being has been ready to shift into alignment. So all they have to do is be present in my energy field, and they just shift. Yeah? And what I'm going to teach you guys over the rest of today and the next 8 weeks is how to actually hold that alignment, how to get yourselves first into that space before you can do it for others. And this is why I said to you yesterday, I said that this whole process is first and foremost about you, because you need to get into a vibration where your vibration's high enough that you can hold that vibration, so that when somebody comes into your vibrational field, they will instantly heal. Yeah? A lot of this journey is actually just about you, because the more light that you can hold, the higher frequency that you hold, and at a permanent sort of level, the faster you can heal people, because everything's source. Yeah? Which is key point number 4. So everything originates from source frequency, and therefore you can go back to that. So before we all came onto this planet, we were like souls in some reality, yeah, and other dimensional soul aspects and all that stuff going on. So if everything came from source, why can't it go back there? And this is where all the beliefs come in. People are like, oh, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you have to have a process and time and blah, 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 blah. And I just sit there and I go, that's rubbish. Everything is source. So if I look at you right now and I see within you that you are source, that you're pure source frequency, I can see it, I can feel it, I can hold that, I can have that, visualization, and I can tangibly embody that within my own frequency, there is nothing stopping you, if you are ready and your soul is ready, to completely come into alignment with that. Does that make sense? Which is the next point. Healing happens instantly. We don't need process. Time exists in the third dimension. It exists in the fourth dimension as the time spiral. It does not exist outside of that space. So when you're outside of time and space, there is nothing stopping healings from happening instantaneously. Because when your vibration gets to a point where you can step yourself up into like 7D, 8D, 9D, those sorts of high vibration frequencies, if you're truly embodying them in your physical body, anybody who's in your physical space will heal instantly. Make sense? Are we like totally wowed by this? I'm like looking at all your faces going, yep, I've officially blown their minds. I told you I would, right? So this is it. These are the principles. I'm going to turn that camera off now, and we're actually going to deep dive into how, because the rest of today is actually going to be answering all those questions and teaching you guys the tools and techniques of how to actually get into that frequency so you can do all these amazing things. Yeah? Are we excited?
Yeah.
Excellent.